Welcome to Influential Entrepreneurs, bringing you interviews with elite business leaders and experts, sharing tips and strategies for elevating your business to the next level. Here's your host, Mike Saunders.
Well, hello and welcome to this episode of Influential Entrepreneurs. This is Mike Saunders, the Authority Positioning Coach, and today we have with us Tina Marie St.Cyr, who is the founder and president of Bonfire Coaching. Tina Marie, welcome to the program.
Thank you so much, Mike, and Happy New Year.
Yeah, this is one of the first episodes of 2020, and we were just talking before we got started about how this is so critical in people's mentality and approach to the year. So I want to get into that, but give us a little bit of your background and what led you to start Bonfire Coaching.
Well, thank you so much. Wonderful question to start with. So I'm a professional coach. I'm in my 11th year now. We just started this 11th year, which is awesome. And my mentor and coach way back when told me that I need to be a coach. I had sold a computer consulting firm, and prior to that, I'd worked in corporate America, and I'd had many different seasons of my life, and I was at this juncture of what do I do next? I literally thought I was going to start a vending machine, back when Redbox was starting.
Oh, yeah.
And she sat down with me and said, I think you need to be a coach. I didn't really understand what she meant by that because I hadn't investigated the coaching industry. However, it was just launching in a big way. And so I took her advice. I worked for her company and got the ins and outs of coaching itself and started my own coaching firm. And we've had a great time of it. 3 years ago, I decided I needed to rebrand, like many entrepreneurs do. I wanted to rebrand into a brand that would not have my name on it, because prior it was Tina Marie and Company, and I was the sole person that people would seek out. And if they couldn't coach with me, then they didn't want to coach with our firm.
Right.
And I realized that I only had so much time. And so I took all the methods and the strategies that I use with coaching clients that gave us tons of 5-star reviews, and I made the methods accessible to other coaches. And I launched out in 2017 with one of my clients, and she wanted to be a life coach. I trained her. It worked. She was able to get the results with clients as well. Then I started with another a gentleman. So I proved it twice, and then I launched a coaching school. So Bonfire Coaching is a blend of, we're looking for amazing coaches that want to learn our mechanisms and our strategies that help people get to where they want to be as fast as possible in results, and we can talk about that. And then the second part is an actual coaching program that people seek out because we do have such a great reputation, and the methods and strategies work on their own, and they transform people's lives from life, business, career, relationships, and health and spirituality.
That's I love how you describe that whole process because we could probably unpack about 3 sections of that and spend the rest of the entire day on on that.
We could.
But a couple of the flybys that I noticed was this. You provided such good service to your clients as Tina Marie and Company that then they naturally attract to you, and they're like, oh, well, if I can't coach with Tina Marie, then everyone else is less than proficient. When in reality, it's kind of like Tony Robbins. He had you don't coach with him unless you pay him $1.5 trillion, But he's got so many of his certified coaches that hang on his every word and are coached and certified and literally deliver what he would be saying, and they bring their life experiences. So you notice that you pulled back from the personal brand to the corporate brand, and then noticed that people started getting results, and you thought, you know what, you would be a good coach, and what if we started this coaching certification, this school, and now it's kind of like I'm envisioning this pond that you throw a pebble in, and you watch these ripples and ripples, and you can have the ripple effect of your coaching systems and strategies really impact more people than what you can touch.
Completely. And that's what all entrepreneurs head for, right? That's what we aim for, is to replace ourselves, because that's where the freedom comes. It's about the business and the service it provides the world, as opposed to me as an individual doing that. And I'm so grateful that now we're entering into our 3rd year, and I have 10 certified coaches working with me, and we're looking to expand to another 30. So by the end of 2020, my want is 40 coaches worldwide. And I know you sent me some wonderful questions to think about prior to our interview, which I love, being stimulated in that way. And it is, what's my big goal for this year?
Yeah.
And we want to launch into 5 new cities in the United States. Los Angeles, Chicago, New York, Miami, and Seattle. And then we want to launch into 3 additional international cities. We're already in Saudi Arabia. I didn't expect that to be our first country, but it is.
Yeah, we'll take it.
Awesome. The universe got us in. We're in Riyadh, and I'll be heading over to that office early first quarter, and probably stop into Dubai, and then also Riyadh. And so the other countries that we want to launch in are London, Paris, and then so England, France, and Australia. And we already have coaches on the ground that are very interested in our training to take these methods into their businesses. So our coaches can be standalone coaches that want to promote themselves and have their own business, or they can work through the company and get clients from us as well. It's a great partnership, and it allows the most freedom, because every coach really is a creator. They're their own artist. And so what I realized as being a coach, I didn't want to say, it's this method and you have to do it this way or you don't get to do it. And I was like, oh, that's too crazy. No.
Yeah.
So we have it very open, where you take the strategies and the tool sets and you can put it into your own practice right now and expand who you are as a coach. And at the same time, we'll know that you're a certified Bonfire coach in that area, in that part of the globe. And so whenever we do our marketing and our branding and, my keynote speeches, that whenever we find people that will fit great with you, that we assign you that coaching client straight through corporate. So it's been a great thing. My message is out there. People desire me. Like yesterday, it's 8 p.m. on the 1st, and I had 2 leads come in. And so, of course, I'm going to call them. My team's off. They're enjoying their holiday, but I called them, and so we have 2 more people starting coaching this week.
Nice.
So those leads come in because the brand and the message and the efficacy of the work stands by itself, and that's what our goal is to help people coach themselves at the end of the day.
Well, I want to ask a question, but before I ask the question, so I want to ask the question about Bonfire, what that mental imagery is. But before I ask that, I want to make a comment on something that you, in your explanation, in your what you're envisioning the future will be. Number one, it will happen, and other coaches that may want to come on board with you need to realize that you just gave just a little overview. And you didn't do a teaching, but in your overview, they should take note of the teaching that you exemplified, which is this. You were very specific. You didn't say, oh, this year we're going to expand, and also we're going to expand in international areas. What did you do? You said we're going to expand in these, Los Angeles and this area, and then internationally like London. And you were very specific. And I think that, again, we could spend the rest of the day on having a vision and goals that are very specific. But I wanted to recognize that you aren't just going run, sprint. We're going to expand to do good things and come with me. You were like, here's where we're going. And I think that's a big revelation.
Yeah, and since the beginning, in fact, I wanted to share this. One of my mentors, he said, don't tell people about what you're going to do. Do it and then tell people.
Yep.
And so I haven't had a launch of Bonfire. So it's kind of interesting because, back in 2017, whenever I was working with my lawyers and we decided the name decided us, actually. There's a whole story around Bonfire and its energy. However, I met with my lawyers. We decided the corporate structure. We decided who's going to be key players in the company. I brought on those 2 people that I taught the methods to. I helped them get clients. They filled their book of business. Everything was going, and we're starting into our 3rd year, and I haven't ever had a formal launch. You can go to the website, everything's there. Because I need to prove the model. I need to prove it first and know that it's there. And the truth is, I don't know that we're going to have a launch. It's kind of interesting.
Yeah, why bother?
We're
at that
going.
Point, it keeps where there's maybe that's, you think about the bonfire and there's these little sparks coming off and it lands and then it ignites somewhere else.
Exactly.
I mean, why do you need to go and have this whole other, let's get a team and get some wood and create another bonfire? No. Let the sparks do what the sparks are meant to do.
And that's exactly what happens. As soon as it touches down and people hear about it, they want it. And it's got an energy all of its own that's just so, oh, God, I love that I listened because, for years I knew there was going to be another brand. And I did my entrepreneurial work, which is, throw 100 names on the board and see what sticks.
Yep.
And none of it had energy. It just felt like, I'm forcing it. And so I waited, and I was patient. And I was in this meditation at this place that I go in the Texas Hill Country probably 3 times a year just to recoup myself and get to my next level. And I'm up on this hilltop overlooking the lake early at dawn. And in my meditative state, it's like the universe knew that I'd put this question out to it. But we don't always get the answer when we think we're needing it. And I was free of any thought that morning, and this literal voice comes in, and it says bonfire. And my humanness was like, where?
Yeah, right.
Like,
run.
What do you mean there's a fire? Like, what are we talking about here? And I was like, should I come out of meditation for this? But it said bonfire, and I didn't know what it was for, and I still answered back, in my own thinking, you tell me more. And it was Bonfire Coaching. And I knew at that moment that was the answer to this prayer, this wish that I'd put out many years before. And consistently putting that question out to the universe, like, what is this brand that's going to be that legacy play? Because this is my legacy play. I am, going to the grave with promoting Bonfire and having it be that voice of people, their own becoming, lighting their life. And so, of course, I open my eyes. I'm like, Bonfire Coaching. Oh, my God, that's it. And so I come down off the mountain, off the hill, and go to my little room, and it had Wi-Fi, and I get on my computer, and I'm like, this domain better be available.
Yeah, please, dear God.
Right? Isn't it bad? You get the inspiration. Domain's taken. Oh, man.
Right.
And so I went, and Bonfire Coaching was available. I'm like, oh, my God, and buy the .org, and then so you buy like all 12.
Yeah, .biz, .info, .anything.
All of it. So I got it. And then I got Bonfire Coaching Global, Bonfire Coaching International. I just did the whole span. This is it. Yeah. So go protect the baby. And I spent time with it that day, and it has the whole vision came in that it's, we're seeking community in this world. We're seeking a place to feel safe again in relation to one another. And in a culture that, especially social media and with Instagram, and there's this huge comparison model that even if it's unconscious and unspoken, it's still there. And one of our foundational things that we help people stop is comparing. We don't compare ourselves to any version of ourselves prior or in the future, or any comparing that is to another place that we should be by now, because it creates pain. And so it's just a beautiful launch of a community, and the methods and the strategies are the glue that holds people together. However, once people are in Bonfire, you're always in Bonfire. It's like, you're part of the family. And we have made so many amazing connections. Businesses have sparked from it. We've had friendships. We've had marriages sparked from the people in Bonfire that they meet each other. So many things have happened in the community of this becoming of authenticity, realness, truth, no longer living in pretense. Even if it's an unconscious pretense, we're out of that ghostliness of our life now, and really into what's the meaning that we have here as humans, and where do we really want to take this thing called life? And that's been the beauty of, and all I need to do is hold the container of it, and it is launching itself. And
Nice.
I'm so grateful, like I said originally, that I listened.
You have something powerful when that happens.
It's phenomenal.
Yeah. You said something that I want to dive in deeper on, because I think you just glossed over it because it's part of what you guys do that sets yourself apart from other programs. But from the outside listening in, it made my ears perk up to go, hold up. I know I'm not supposed to compare myself to someone else. Right? Because, how about my personal or my professional state in life compared to the next person in the same business or someone else? That's unhealthy. But I thought, and I want your kind of clarification on, why can't I compare myself to myself? Why can't I say, here's where I was a year ago, and, I've made some progress. I could be better. Here's where I want to be in a year. What is your approach to comparing and not to make any comparisons?
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Wonderful question. There's a difference between comparing and discerning. Okay. Comparing is an energy where, let's say, I'll take a female, for example, who may look at her body type now and say, well, back when I was that size, then life was this storyline, right? Or they may say body type now, and when I get to, or in the future when I have that, then life will be storyline.
Right.
And what we do is we trap ourselves in the pleasures and the happiness and the fulfillment of ourselves either having had already happened and it's not here, or it will be in the future and it's not here. So comparing is that energy of not good enough. Right now is not good enough. I can't like it as much here because I'm not where I was and I'm not where I will be. I'm in this limbo. And anytime the mind itself is in limbo, it's not in an energized state, and it cannot create solution. It's going to create entrapment and more problems. And whenever we think of that law of attraction thing that a lot of people have been exposed to and curious about, that's great. However, what we find, especially in the Bonfire and the methods and the study, that I've had amazing mentors in my life. I am so grateful for the mentors that I've been able to sit at the hem of and learn from. And whenever I started taking those pieces of all this mentorship in my life, I realized that there were 5 C's that, C's meaning words that begin with C, that trap us in the pain of humanity. And those 5 C's are complaining, criticizing, condemning, which is judging, commiserating, which is telling sad stories and trying to get significance out of how bad life is. And the worst is comparing. And I know your question is, how do you what is it in this comparing of myself to myself? As long as we're not trapping ourselves and dooming ourselves to back when my life was, then that was happiness. Or when my life gets to, then that will be happiness. And we're looking at the right now and feeling as though that we're not enough or we're never going to reach it. And that's like sabotaging our own efforts every single moment. That's comparing. Discerning. Yeah. Discerning is, I had a great year in 2019, and I really invite everyone to take inventory of everything that worked in 2019. And fair enough, there will be those things that did not work. Hey, I've got my list as well. Maybe it didn't add up to the numbers you wanted or the number of people you wanted to serve, or maybe that book launch didn't happen or something didn't happen. However, we don't look at those. We simply put those on the list of, do I want to do it now? We find energy there. But discerning is taking inventory of the good, taking inventory of the awesomeness, and celebrating it. We celebrate that and then go, now, how can I perfect a little bit? How can I tweak? How can I make better? How can I grow me? So in Bonfire, there's 3 areas that we have people focus in to create that energy of discernment, to create that energy of progress and movement. And it's, where do we want to love and connect more? And I do focus on the word love. It's amazing. I had this one pipeline company. They sell pipe. They're a company. It's all dudes. Many of them have tattoos. These are macho guys, And they brought me in to do some corporate training and coaching for them. And I challenged them. I said, in your sales process with your client, what I want you to do is to find ways you can drop in the word love. They all looked at me like I was crazy.
Oh, I would love to be a player on the ball with that conversation.
Right? But however, there was this one guy, his name's Ryan. He said, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. And I'm going to prove to you guys that she's right. And so he said that he reached out to his clients and said, I really love that I'm able to serve you and get you what you need. And it's been great having a relationship with you. How may I serve you more? And then in other communications, I love that I'm able to, put these orders in for you. And he started dropping the word love in. People lean into that. Yeah. Unconsciously, we all want more love in our life, right? So the first thing that we put in with the Bonfire method is love and connection, true connection. That's where our community rises to the everybody. You don't have to ask. Once you're in Bonfire, and I simply send a text over and say, hey, this is one of our Bonfire people. Can you help them out? Sure, no problem. Doors open. What can I do? Yeah. The next level is growth, personal growth. We all need to grow, and we need to have a strong growth game. If we're not growing, we're dying. So I challenge everyone, find someplace you want to grow, not because you want to make more money necessarily. That's all great and good. How do you want to grow as a person? Do you want to become more loyal, more trusting? Do you want to have a new language under your belt? Do you want to adventure more? What do you want to do to grow as a person? And the third thing is contribution. We must contribute to a greater order of humanity. It's in our blood. It's in our calling. It's in our soul. And whenever we know this. When we help another person, we feel so good. What is that? That's energy of the yes that the universe is saying that's who you are. So in Bonfire, we love and connect, we grow and we contribute. And that's a beautiful cycle of the soul that keeps giving itself more energy. It's like the oxygen on a fire. And like you said earlier, the sparks grow themselves. Then you'll have the emotional freedom and vitality and energy to have anything that you'd love to create in life happen more effortlessly, naturally, and people come out of the woodwork to support you because your energy is now magnetic. And so that's what Bonfire is about. And I don't know what question you asked to get me there, but thank you.
Right. I think we're way past that. I think we're into just what sets you apart and what's the awesomeness. One thing that you just mentioned about that spark made me think of something regarding change. I think that a lot of people might go, oh, I do need to change, but I don't have the energy to do all this stuff that's required. And when you think about a bonfire, you think of this big, long pieces of board and, raging fire. Well, guess what? It only takes a spark most of the time, many times, to start. If when we go up to our cabin in the mountains here in Colorado and we start a little fire for roasting hot dogs, I make a little teeny little teepee looking little thing and I put some paper under there. Well, it doesn't take but a spark to start that first paper. So you don't need to have the whole bonfire done and raging to feel like I am making change. It takes that first spark, and then that heat starts building upon itself. And then don't you know that when the fire starts going down and you blow on it, your breath is making it spark even more. And so I think there's some great analogies there of, don't worry, we are going to tell you where you can be when you apply these principles, but it just takes that first step.
It does. It takes reaching out for help. One of my hashtags on Instagram is #AskForHelp. It's not making us weak, it's making us strong. Together we're strong. Individually, that saboteur will attack us every moment it can to keep us small. Yeah. And that's not what humanity is about. It truly isn't. We're to do this hand in hand, arm in arm. Let's go and make each individual life amazing so that we can celebrate each other. Gone are the days where we compete. Gone are the days where we want to hold people back. Gone are the days where we want to make sure that we're doing it right so we stand out and we get that label on our chest or on our door. Gone are those days. That humanity is moving beyond that. We're now in humanity where it's humble, connected. How can I help you? Because I know when I help you, you will help me. And we're beginning to trust at a whole new level. And those people that are hearing this message and they resonate with that, then they're invited to Bonfire. And it could simply be go to Bonfire Coaching and sign up and get to see how we're sparking these communities and these conversations that are having us live outside the limits of our own becoming, of what we think we were supposed to be, but aren't yet. That is below the line. We call that, that's draining. Don't want that. That's never going to add up to any good. We want to say, what do you want now? What would you love? And even if it's one thing that you love, let's go there. Let's start there. Like you said, let's be that spark. And I know that I'll be launching a podcast this year with your assistance. So thank you. And I want to congratulate you on your book, as I have it here, Authority Selling, Opening More Doors to Closing More Business. I love this. Thank you. I can't wait to dive in. Good. And it will be a very quick read because it's written in conversational style, and I appreciate you mentioning that. What I would like to say is if someone is listening to this and thinking, I kind of want to have that little extra spark in my life that might billow out into that bonfire, and I want that community, and who knows where that could lead, what is the best way that they can reach out to you and your team and learn a little bit more about Bonfire Coaching? It's real easy. Go to bonfirecoaching.com. Hey. That is almost like a setup. That's awesome. Well, I'll make sure to have everything's there. That link right in the show notes so people can click on it as well. But Tina Marie, thank you so much for coming on. It was really great learning about your coaching perspective and what makes Bonfire really different than most any other program out there. It just seems so approachable. So thank you so much. Thank you so much, Mike, and thanks for having this program for entrepreneurs and people to grow in their lives. Thank you.
You've been listening to Influential Entrepreneurs with Mike Saunders. To learn more about the resources mentioned on today's show or listen to past episodes, visit www.influentialentrepreneurssradio.com.